Look at that line of vertebrae. Wow. Nice. He says he keeps hitting bone too, so there's more of the critter there. Hello, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel, YouTubers. And we're going fossil hunting out in the White River Badlands of Nebraska again. This is the second video in the series for the 2025 season, spring season of fossil hunting in the Badlands. And we are heading back out into the Badlands. This will be our third day in the field. And we'll see what we find today. We're going to a different area than we've been the other 2 days. So, hey, the sky's the limit on what we might find. Once we get out there, I'll give you a look at the place, we'll gear up, and we'll go fossil hunting. All right, I'm starting to hike in. Most of our supplies are going in on the ATV over there. We got it loaded down pretty good. I got one bucket I'm going to carry with me. And hike on in. This is a generally pretty productive area we're going to, so hopefully, in spite of the fact that there's been almost no precipitation since we were here a year ago, just maybe, this will be a good spot since it's been a very productive area. There's Mike S. up ahead of me, hiking in. I hear the ATV coming up from behind. Well, after a bit of a hike, we have arrived. This is the area we're going to hunt today. It's called the Plateau. That's just our name for it. Don't look at any official maps. It's a very unofficial name. It's just our name for this area of the ranch. Like I said, it's been very productive. All of us have taken jackets out of here over the years. So hopefully something has been uncovered in the last year, even though there's been very little rain. So everybody's unloading and gearing up, and we'll be hiking in here very shortly. Well, we're dropping our supplies and packs in a central location, and we're all going to spread out and hunt the plateau here. I think we've all got our favorite areas to go to first, so we will probably scatter pretty quickly here and see if we can find anything good. I'll show you anything I find along the way. There's a whole lot of tortoise shell just about everywhere up here. Quite a few tortoises have come out of here, but a lot of other good stuff too. Been pretty dry year so far for us. I mean, dry as in not finding anything. So at this point, I didn't even take another tortoise, even though I already have a few in jackets in my garage. And another pile of tortoise shell over there. It just accumulates in the little washes from the weather. Let's see what we can find out here.
Or you want to work on your own stuff?
No, it's okay. So my wife Leslie, so we're all spreading out doing our own thing. She's found something. Looks like a tooth, maybe. She's going to excavate it here. She's just going to get some supplies and see what's in there. I've dug on a few false leads so far, but found nothing of real interest. So, yeah, good find, Leslie. And it's pretty big, too, by the size comparison with my ice pick here. So, if we're actually seeing what looks like maybe enamel up here, then this might be root. So, skull, the jaw might have been here. There might still be some of it buried. There might be a lot more of this tooth down there. I'll let my wife excavate it. It's her find. But, yeah, this could be a nice find. There might be more of the critter here too besides this tooth. So, we'll see. Well, I found a spot here where there's a lot of bones and teeth, all jumbled up. There might have been a skull here at one point, or at least a jaw. There's teeth in a piece of jaw. Looks like orient, of course. They were the most common animal out here. Well, maybe aside from tortoises. Some more tooth. Put this stuff over here where I can find it. Looks like some more jaw with teeth. Little bone here. Not sure. But there's a lot of jumbled up stuff here. I'm going to collect the stuff on the surface and do a little digging and see if there's any of the critter left below the surface here. It's possible that there's still something down underneath here, some part of it. Okay, did some digging after collecting the stuff off the surface, and I think I'm not finding anything down here. I think what it is just a place where, as erosion was washing bones out of the Badlands here, they were just landing there and accumulating. And I've got quite a mix of bones here. I mean, I've got a quite robust jaw here with teeth in it. And then I've got these tiny, tiny little delicate bones down here. So I think it's probably a mix of animals, unless maybe that's tip of a tailbone. I don't know. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be an animal here. So I'm gonna collect some of these interesting looking teeth and small bones just for funsies, and then get back to looking. So Leslie has excavated the tooth she found. And well, the tip of it's broken, but that is a big tooth. What do you think? Maybe Entelodont or something? Possibly. So yeah, we'll get it identified. She's looking around just to make sure there's nothing else there, but it's one of our, possibly our nicest find to date out here on this trip. So yeah, keep up the good work. All right, so we've had one of our experts look at this, and as I suspected, it's Entelodont, and the tip is not broken. That is wear. That's probably an old animal when it died. They've been using that tooth for a long time. Even better find, Leslie.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Good.
Okay, so far it's not as spectacular as my wife's find, but I did see this broken, weathered bit of bone sticking out of the side of the hill. It looked like it was going back in. So I'm starting to follow it in, and well, the further I follow it, the further it goes. There's bone back in here. What it is, I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. Let me uncover a little bit more of it, and we'll see if it's a good find or not. Well, this has turned out to be nothing. I excavated the bone about 6 inches into the hill here, where it came to an end, and it was just all fractured into 1,000 pieces the whole way. So there's really no point in trying to collect it. It wasn't whole anyway. So, yep, didn't lead to anything. There doesn't seem to be anything else down here. So, Steve might have found something good over there. Nah, he says he's denying it. Okay. He's digging though. He's looking. Aren't we all? Well, there's a great big old coprolite right there. 50 million year old poop. I don't know whether I'm going to collect it or not. I've already collected a ton of it on this trip. And we use it in our educational program. Kids go nuts over it. But I don't know. We've got a huge pile of it accumulated already. I don't know how much more we need. Well, one of the many hazards of the Badlands, these solution holes, very deep, with very steep sides, and cliff edges that are unstable. We have safety precautions. We all carry a walkie-talkie in case we get separated, injured, incapacitated, whatever. We also have whistles to blow. And yeah, I can't see the bottom of this hole. That goes down there. If somebody were to fall into that, they'd probably at the very least break a leg and would not be able to climb back out, even if they were perfectly healthy at the bottom, which I don't think would happen. So we do take some safety precautions. Anyway, I've scoured this edge of the plateau pretty good. I'm going to start working inwards on it. See if I can find anything really interesting. So far, not much. Making my way towards a different area of the plateau, stumble across a piece of jaw with teeth in it. Looks like maybe rabbit. Just a broken piece of jaw, lower jaw by the looks of it. I'll collect that. Why not? And keep looking around this area. There is a lot of bone and tortoise shell in this area I'm in right now. There's more over here by my stick. I'll look around a little bit, see if there's anything else worth collecting, and then keep moving, keep looking. And what do you know? Looking around, there is more here. There's a piece of what looks like orient jaw with teeth in it. So yeah, I need to scour this area pretty well before I move on. See what else I can find. And another piece of jaw with teeth in it. Again, I think Oriodont, but I might have our experts look at this one. This one's a little different. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. So unfortunately, it's all pieces, disarticulated, spread out. There might have been a whole skull here at one point, but that might have been decades ago. Just little shards now. But I'm going to look around a little more. I tell people when you're fossil hunting, you've got to investigate every single lead you see. 999 times out of 1,000, they don't lead to anything. This one might not yet, but it's interesting. I saw some bone over here. This piece is on the surface, like so. Underneath it, there's more bone. There's bone here, there's bone here. There's bone up here. There's bone down here. This surface looks like it articulates with this surface. And this looks like it might be another socket. Another articulating socket. So I've got some excavating to do to see if this is anything at all. I've got a little pile of bones that I got off the surface over here. It looks like maybe some bits of tooth too. And they're pretty big teeth, if those are bits of tooth. So I might be onto something, or again, it might be nothing. It might just peter out right below the surface. And I'll tell you what, this matrix, dry and hard like rock. Let me tell you, this is not going to be easy digging either. And I got to be really careful around the bones. So I may be here for a while. Hopefully it does turn into something, and it's not just another dead end. Okay, this is getting pretty extensive. Bone over here. It's kind of fractured up. Wide bone. Bone here. Bone here. Bone here. Bone up here. I'm going to quit digging on this for the moment. I'm going to get some boot var glue to spread on it to stabilize it before I do any more digging, because I can see this is starting to break up down here. Pieces are coming off. And I think I need to get one of our experts to have a look at this and see what I've got here. Whatever it is, it's pretty extensive. It's covering a pretty big area, and it probably goes back into the hill further. I don't know if we've got like a scapula or even more of a critter than that. So I don't know. So let me get the boot var glue on it, get it drying, maybe have some lunch while it's drying, and see if we can wrangle one of our experts to come over and look at it. Okay, after talking with one of our experts, actually a couple of them, they're saying it looks like pelvis, which kind of makes sense. Looks like we got a socket over here, and a wide, thin bone here, and just a whole lot of bone. There could be a lot of critter down here. You never know. Maybe even skull underneath all this. So I'm gonna make a plaster jacket. I'm gonna dig way around it and mushroom it, and we'll make a plaster jacket and get it out of here, and we prep it. We'll see what in the world we've got. Okay, so I've got a lot of digging to do. I'll probably be here for much of the rest of the day. Well, I've started digging, Got a lot more to go. This stuff is really, really hard. And I'm going to have to go down quite a ways to be sure I get the whole animal here. So I got a lot of digging to do around it. I got some foil and rocks on top of the bones there to just protect the exposed bones from all the debris that's flying around as I'm digging. Already had one piece fly over there and knock one of the bones loose, so don't want to damage them any further. All the loose bones on the surface are in that plastic bag over there. Some of them may not be related to this critter, but I'm sure some of them are. So at least I'll have everything of it that I can find once I get this out of here. And I'm just taking a little break from digging. This is hard stuff. It takes a lot of digging with my pick. All right, let me get back to it. Whew, I'm breathing a little heavy, but I'm making progress. Slow with this hard material. And I'm making a big wide hole because I don't know where the extent of the critter is yet. I'll probably want to shave it down before we jacket it, but also because the matrix is so hard, this digging is making it crumble around the edges. So I made the edges good and big. So hopefully it won't crumble into the critter as I'm digging. Take a little break and get back to it here. Well, after a whole lot of hard work, and the sun's trying to come out and it's warming up, it was a nice cool morning. It's getting hot out here. At least the breeze is still blowing a little, but I got it about as deep as I needed everywhere. So now what I'm going to start doing is just sort of carefully carving away at the edges to sort of reduce the size. If I hit bone, I stop. Hit bone, I stop. And I need to mushroom it. It's more or less a vertical column. I need to mushroom it so it's more narrow at the base before I put the plaster jacket on it. So those are the next steps. Carve it down so it's not so big and heavy, because I mean that's, with plaster on it, that'd be 200 pounds, but I don't think it needs to be that big. The aluminum foil's covering all the bones, so as long as I don't find more when I'm carving it down, we'll wind up with a smaller jacket. So let me find my chisels and get to work. Okay, that's about as far as I'm going to go. As you can see, I've shrunk it down a lot, so it's not going to be quite as heavy to haul out of here. So for my next step, I'm going to cover the whole thing with boot bar glue, top, sides, and wait for that to dry. I'll cover it with aluminum foil and then cover it with a plaster jacket. Here goes the boot bar glue. Give it a good coating everywhere. Help stick it all together. Get it around the sides. It's hard to film and pay attention to where I'm spraying the glue too. That's probably pretty good. Maybe I'll touch it up a little bit off camera. Alright, after letting the boot bar glue dry for a while, I have covered it with aluminum foil. This will keep the plaster jacket from sticking to the rock and the bone. So the plastic jacket will still hold it together, but it'll be easy to remove later. So now I start mixing up plaster and coating burlap with it and wrapping this thing with a couple layers. So I'm not going to be able to do that and film because I'm going to need both hands, and they're going to get quite messy with plaster. So you might not see this again until I'm done. Well, there it is. All plaster jacketed. You mix up burlap. You mix up plaster in a bucket. You soak burlap in it. You wrap it around it. You couple layers on. You're good to go. Textbook. Just got to wait for this to get good and hard. Then I can break the mushroom stem underneath and flip this thing over, and we can haul it out of here. So I'm waiting for my plaster jacket to dry enough that I can break the mushroom under it. Mike S. is over there. He's found a line of vertebrae and some other bones. So he's digging to see how much of the critter's there. He'll probably make a jacket around it too, just so he can get it all out in one piece. So we're actually finding stuff up here on the plateau. Some good stuff up here, in spite of no rain since last year. So while I'm waiting for the plaster to harden, I'm gonna do a little hunting. I'm out here on the edge of the plateau here, looking down the valley. Isn't it a beautiful view? Gorgeous. I hope the bird song's coming through. I hear meadowlark. I hear red-winged blackbird. And I hear mourning dove. A lot of wildlife out here. All right, let me get to hunting. See if I can find something else in the time we got left before we got to call it for the day. Well, so far, best thing I found while I'm out hunting while plaster dries. Or you don't, of course, or you don't. Anyway, little section of jaw with teeth. I'm gonna go down off this hill and then hunt my way back up to my plaster jacket, up a different hill. We should be ready to break it loose and flip it. Well, my cat is still digging down there, so he's always found something good. All right, so it's time to break this thing loose. Got my hammer and chisels over here. I'm just gonna run the chisels through the mushroom stem there and break it loose. Then I can flip this thing over. Let me double check here that the plaster is good and hard. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, plaster's good and hard. So we are ready to go. So again, I'm going to put the phone down. I'll show you the end of the process. I think this is going to come out easy because my chisel went in really easy at the in the stem of the mushroom. But I'm going to have to run it through a few more times just to make sure I get it all broken loose. And you can see why I've had to dig out so far around it. So I have room to get the chisel and hammer in there and break it loose. Yeah, it's a lot of extra digging, but oh well. Maybe there's something nice in here besides just a crushed pelvis. Maybe there's a skull under it or something else cool. We'll see. Okay, I wish I could have filmed that for you, but everything went perfect. Drove my chisel through, all the way through, my long one, several times. It was nice and loose. Rolled it over, holding as much stuff in with my hand as I could, and here we are. Textbook. Got the jacket out. I don't see any bone here. I don't see any bone here. So whatever of the critter is in here, I got all of it. So that's what you're aiming for, to get all of it. Not leave part of it behind. So looks like we did good. I'm going to spray Boot Var glue all over this just to consolidate it, hold it together. And hey, it's going to be light enough I can carry it out of here. That's a bonus too. I don't think I'll need help with it. And we'll put a cover jacket on it before we leave, and make it sturdy enough to survive a drive back to Florida. But it may have to stay in Nebraska this year because everybody flew. So we may have to leave it out here until somebody drives again. And then retrieve it. We'll leave it with a friend. Okay, it's all Boot Var'd up. Once the Boot Var has a chance to dry, I may carry it up the hill to where our four-wheeler is, so it can be transported back to the truck. I think I can carry it up there by myself. I've got the little baggie of miscellaneous bones that were on the surface too. Some of them I know go with this, some of them may not be related, but I collected them all. So maybe we can reconstruct something down the road. Look at that line of vertebrae. Wow. Nice. He says he keeps hitting bone too, so there's more of the critter there. His jacket's going to be bigger than mine.
No.
No? Oh, you're going to pare it down?
We'll try.
Well, don't lose anything. There's enough of us here to get it out. So I'm hauling my jacket up to the four-wheeler, which is way there in this bucket. And as I'm going, I see this on the ground. Have to stop and investigate. Investigate everything you see. You want to find good stuff. Alright, I got my jacket up to the four-wheeler. It's on the back of it, ready to be transported to the truck, which is somewhere over beyond that hill. Bit of a hike. So from up here, you can see where almost everybody is. It's not a huge area, but it's hugely productive. You just have to very slowly, very patiently search it. You got Cena over here, Mike S over here, digging out that, what he's pretty sure is an Orionont skeleton with a nice line of vertebrae. My wife's over there having a drink. I don't know where Steve Vicari, Mr. Paleo Analysis, is. Last time I saw him, he was going down a narrow valley. He's probably out of sight. But, hugely productive area. I think we're all doing pretty well today. Finding some stuff, and, well, the weather's not too bad. So, that's great. It's not too hot today. That's great. So, the more Mike digs, the more he finds. He's found the skull. I went down there and got a look at it, but I was kind of in a precarious position above him to try and film, so he's about ready to start jacketing it, and we'll get it out of here. I think there's, between 5 of us, we can get it up that hill, up to the four-wheeler over there. I think we can manage it. Well, it's probably going to take at least another hour for Mike S. to get his critter jacketed up, so I might as well keep fossil hunting. Maybe I'll find something else, you know. I only get out here usually once a year, so I'm down in a deep valley here. Bone everywhere. Tortoise shell everywhere. So I'm gonna look around in here, see if I can find anything, then maybe make my way back up in this area over here. I haven't looked over here yet, so gotta keep looking. Gotta look to find. Down there, Cena's helping Mike jacket up his find. I'm gonna take him some more water. He doesn't think he has enough water to mix up all the plaster he needs. Coming right along. Not that late in the day. This jacket's so elongated they've added a stick to it to give it sort of a spine for reinforcement. Hold it together better. Mine was small and round. Didn't really need it. Steve and Mike muscled that thing up out of the Badlands, up into the back of the four-wheeler.
Wasn't heavy, too heavy. We took a few bad routes.
Yeah, that was not the best route. So that's the end of day 3. We're heading back to Fort Robinson, our base camp. Tired, sore, hungry, but raring to go for day 4. Stay tuned, I'll give you a look at the stuff I found today. Alright, so this is some of the stuff I found today. You know, I've got that big jacket with at least it looks like a crushed pelvis in it, but there might be other parts of the critter there too. But also I found a lot of teeth out there on the plateau where we were. Mostly Orionont. I'm not sure what this one is. It's the wear surface is so worn down, or at least missing. Not sure what this is exactly. Maybe deer. I'll have to have somebody look at that. Leptomyrix, maybe. Mostly Orionont. Maybe some rabbit here. Incisor. A tiny little bone. I picked that up just for funsies. I don't know why. A lot of teeth and a jacket. That's all I got. Since it took me a couple hours to dig out that pelvis and jacket it. My hunting time was foreshortened, so still not too bad. If you leave the field with a plaster jacket, you're doing pretty good. All right, stay tuned for day 4 of fossil hunting. And here we go, headed back into the field for day 4 of fossil hunting in the spring 2025 season. Heading back out to the White River Badlands of northwest Nebraska. We love it out there. It's a bit of a drive from our base camp at Fort Robinson, but we don't mind. Anyway, as soon as we get out there, we'll get geared up and start fossil hunting. Okay, day 4 in the field. Dawning, cloudy and cold. I'm sure it'll be warm later. It's supposed to be. So we call this area, over here where we're going to be looking today, the left side, as opposed to over here, which is the right side. So, hike back here. There's a lot of hills back there just out of sight. And see what we can find today. Hike it on in. Going up the hill a little bit, you can start to see all the Badlands up ahead of us. That's where we're going to be spending the day. Hunting out here. First we gotta cross this wash. So as usual, we dropped our supplies off in a sort of a central high location where everybody can see it if they need to come get anything, if they need to make a plaster jacket or whatever. And we've got all these Badlands to look around in. And also as usual, people are trekking immediately towards what we call Concrete Hill over there. And we call it that because it is literally as hard as concrete. The digging in it is rough. Generally you have to go into town and rent a concrete saw if you find something good in there. But on the other hand, a lot of good stuff has been found in that hill. It just has to be really good to be worth digging out. So everybody's heading there first, then we'll probably scatter, go our separate ways over these square miles of Badlands we can search here. See if we'll find something impressive today. So I guess I'll poke around the base of Concrete Hill too, since it's kind of on the way to anywhere else before I head off to other hills. You can just see a divot in the hill up there. That's where Mike Searle found his Titanotheres skull. And on the other side of the hill, an entelodont. So those were worth going into town and renting a concrete saw for. So I've been walking around for a little bit, haven't found much. This is the first time we've been out on the left side in the last couple of years when it wasn't raining. So it's kind of nice that it's not raining. Another nice thing out here is I think this is the area that had the really nice chalcedony that I collected a couple of years ago. Got some nice colors and patterns in it. I talked about the crystal-filled fault lines in the Badlands. Here's one right here. You can see how it forms sort of like a wall as it erodes away. That was a fault line filled with crystal. A lot of them are calcite. This one has got some chalcedony in it too. So I collect a few nice looking pieces of this, take home, cut and tumble, while I'm looking for fossils. Can you hear all the hammering going on? It's like the people scouring Concrete Hill actually hit something. And they're trying frantically to get it out with hammers and chisels. See, my wife's gone over to see what it is. I think I'll follow her over there and we'll have a look at what they found. So they found horse. Three-toed horse. Ancient three-toed horse. So they've already taken some chunks of the hill out. You can see bits of bone in it. What do you say, you got part of the skull in the aluminum?
It's buried under here, and there's a chunk. Piece of the skull. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, the piece of the skull. You've seen us pointing to a piece of the skull right there.
Something here.
Okay.
Rib bones are here. Leg bones sticking out here. Pelvis over here.
Sticking out there.
So they're going to be here for a while.
10 minutes, 20 stops. God, the hammer just bounces off this stuff.
If they really want it, they'll go into town and get a concrete saw. Now they're debating whose fault it is that they found something on Concrete Hill and have to dig it out. I'm going to leave them to it. That looks like work. I'm going to work hard. It's going to be on something I find. Got a little shard of probably rhino tooth enamel over here. Right here. My wife's telling me she found one down the gully. So this area bears looking over. See if anything's eroding out. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any rain really since we were here last year. It's been very dry. It takes rain to uncover stuff. We're gonna look around though. There's another piece right there. See how it's kind of bluish? It tends to fossilize blue. The enamel does on these old teeth. Easy to spot because there's nothing else blue out here, but unfortunately I'm not finding anything other than these little shards, which leads me to believe there was either a skull or a jaw or maybe just a tooth that was exposed up the top of this hill, and over the decades the weather freeze-thaw cycles have just turned it into little shards that have washed down the side of the hill. Don't see anything up at top. It's all down the sides in pieces. That happens. If you don't find it when it first weathers out, it just gets destroyed by the elements. So, you know, except maybe on Concrete Hill, where it may stay exposed for a few decades before the elements really damage it too much. So, but over here, gone in a flash. Nobody finds it. Well, I found another area with a lot of shards. This is probably Titanothere here. This is a big tooth, enamel from a big tooth. So, another area with a lot of little shards on it. So, I'll give this a good look over. Might be more of the same though, just, you know, weathered out and all destroyed. Ain't much of the hill left back here, so possible. But I'll look. You never know till you look. Sometimes you get lucky. So I wandered back over this way to get my pack, which I left over there. And the minor 49ers are still at it after a couple hours here. Still digging on that horse. I'm not sure what Steve's digging on. He was finding little bits of something. Check out Steve's channel, Paleo Analysis. It's great. Anyway, I'm gonna get my pack and wander back over where my wife and I are scouring an area. It's getting close to noon and I know she'll be hangry soon, so we'll probably stop for lunch soon. Well, I retrieved my pack and I'm making my way back to the area my wife and I are exploring, and I'm looking at this hill again where I saw the shards of Titanothere tooth at the base of it. Very colorful piece of tortoiseshell here. That's probably just lichen growing on it, but it's very colorful. This hill is a little more fossiliferous anyway than some I've looked at, which don't seem to have anything but rock in them. So it's not a big hill, so I'll look it over for a few minutes before I continue on and join my wife. Here's my wife over there. We just met up and had some lunch. It's been a pretty non-productive morning for the two of us. It's like only the people on Concrete Hill have really found anything. I turned down the chance to help them dig. It's just too small an area for too many people. Anyway, we're over here in this area here. And we're going to be exploring this. This might take most of the rest of the day. Explore all these hills. Good few hours anyway. See what we can find. Well, I've climbed high-ish up into these hills. And here, I've actually found the remains of a rhino or titanotheres tooth. It's falling apart, unfortunately. It's in a lot of pieces. It's falling down the hill with each new rainstorm. But it's part of it here. Enamel, root, more enamel down here. Lots of pieces. I'm going to probe around here, because obviously this thing eroded out of the hill here. And Mother Nature's having her way with it now that it's exposed to the weather. But maybe it has friends underground. I mean, those animals had a lot of teeth. They had jaws, they had skulls. So there might be more stuff underground here. So I'm going to probe around and collect some of these pieces. I don't really know if it's worth collecting because it's in too many pieces and probably too many are missing to reconstruct it. But I'll pull some nice pieces out and while I'm probing around, see if I can find anything else. Best thing I found so far today. Well, no luck finding anything else. I've disturbed a good section of the hill here. And not finding anything. I'm going to look around the rest of this hill really good, though. Here's the pile of teeth fragments that I've collected. I mean, these animals had big teeth. I mean, some of them were as big as my fist. This may not have been one of the larger ones in its mouth, but they had big teeth. So I have seen people follow a trail of tooth fragments right to an entire jaw full of teeth before, or even a skull. So you got to investigate all these little leads you find. This time it looks like it's come to a dead end, but let's see what else I can find. Sooner or later, one of them leads is going to lead to something good. It's happened to me in the past. It'll happen again in the future. Ooh, I'm way up high. How's this for a Badlands panorama? Oh, it's hot when you're down low, but it's still chilly and windy up high. You get down some of these canyons, there's not a breath of air. Climbing up and down, up and down, up and down through here. Haven't found anything but little shards yet. This hill just ran out in front of me. I'm going to have to backtrack and get over to one of these others. Goes all the way back down to the bottom. Then go up another one. So, it's great exercise. I'll give it that. It is great exercise. A little bit dangerous. Probably pretty easy to break a leg or a hip here. Trying hard not to fall. Alright, let me enjoy this cool breeze for a couple minutes after the climb up here. And then find another hill to work my way back down. So there's my wife, way over there on that hill. That should give you some idea of the scale of this area and how much of it there is to hunt and how hard it is to hunt. See, I was over on that hill before, but it's too steep for me to go down any further, so I went back up to the grass line, across and onto this hill. And I've been hunting it, and now it's getting awfully steep. I don't know if I can make it down any further without risking a broken leg here. I don't know. I may go back up to the grass line and go over a couple of hills and come down. That one over there looks like it's more manageable. And it looks like maybe it goes pretty much all the way down. Now I can pick up another one and go back up. Oh, fun. But hey, just may find something wonderful out here. Alright, let me decide if I can negotiate this hill or if I want to go all the way back up to the grass line. I'll give it some serious consideration here. Alright, well, I made it down. I switched back my way back and forth across the hill, looking for the easiest paths rather than trying to come straight down because it's just too darn steep. You'd find a path that'll take you down a few feet, then it gets steep, go sideways across the hill, find another path down till it gets too steep, go sideways, find another path. Made it down. So I'm at the lower part of the hill now, where I think I'm more likely to find fossils. I'm not seeing much but rock above this level here or so. But from this level on down, where the fossils are, unfortunately, for some of these hills, you can't get on them from ground level. Unless you're, a rock climber. get up here. And I'm hoping I don't have to go back up to get off this hill. It's not too steep when I get to the end of it. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to spend some time up here hunting for fossils because I think I'm in a good layer. I don't know how well the colors are showing through, but this greenish layer through here, this is a good sign. This greenish layer tends to be fossiliferous. So I've worked my way down to the greenish level. So let me look for fossils. Pardon the heavy breathing. Believe it or not, I've had to climb back up, and that was not easy. I'm almost back to the grass line here. Taking a little break. I got out to this little point out here, and it's a sheer drop off out there. I was looking for places I could scramble down into the valley without possibly breaking something, but the valley is just too choked with debris and solution holes. I don't think I could have made my way through it back down to the ground level over there. So I decided to just climb back up. I figure I came down, I can go up. So that's what I did. Oh, cool effect with the clouds going over and the sun coming out. Uncovering the Badlands as it goes. Yep. So, question is, do I want to brave another hill on the off chance it'll take me low enough? Do I want to go back the way I came, 2-3 hills over? Or what do I want to do? I can go up to the grass line around this big hill, and I know I can come in that way. That's a possibility. I might do that. I don't know. Or go back the way I came and go up some of these hills from the bottom, the ones I can get up from the bottom anyway. Anyway, as for fossils, all I found was some little shards of bone. That's it. Absolutely nothing. Next time I'm out here, I'll know this hill is not worth the trouble of trying to get to. Because there's plenty of trouble and no reward. Okay, let me figure out my next move. So that hill over there, that's the dead end I found myself at right there. Nowhere to go but down. Yeah, so I decided that coming back down the way I came in was the best way. Up to the grass, down this finger, down here to where I'm standing. At least I'm back in the fossiliferous zone. That hill didn't have much on it anyway. So, continue working my way back down to, the level of the wash down there, and then up some of these other hills I can climb from down there, see what I can find. I think the fossils are about where I am and down, and there really wasn't much on these hills above where I'm standing. So, yeah, I think I'll stay down a little lower. Oh, there's a nice breeze high up though. It's hot down here. Well, I'm down low in the wash, and look what I see eroding out of the side of the hill. One of these giant tortoises that this area is known for. Stylemes. But it's too far gone. It's only half, a little more than half of it still in the hill, but this is all broken up. You want to find these when you just start see them being exposed. You know, this is just a little too late. Not by much, but a little bit too late. Now, if Leslie was here, she'd poke around looking for leg bones and stuff, and look what I found. I found a turtle leg. So, I'll tell her I found a turtle leg bone here. That's the edge of the shell. More shell. Shell. Yep, but it's just a little too far gone to dig on it. Looks like it might have extended all the way back here. It was bigger maybe even than I think. So maybe there is less than half of it still in the hill. So, gotta find them when they're just starting to erode out. When you just see it a little bit. That's when you want to dig on them. Not when they've all gone to pieces like this. So you'll never find all the pieces. And it's going to be the hardest three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle in the world to put back together. So, gonna leave it. Look for something better. Well, I'm not finding a whole lot of great fossils, but being into geology and rocks, though, I can exercise those hobbies while I'm out here. You're looking along a fault line in the Badlands here. There was a fault crack here, and it filled in with calcite originally. A lot of places you'll see hollows with dogtooth crystals of calcite growing into it along this fault plane. And then later on, chalcedony infilled between the calcite crystals. Produced some interesting looking stuff. I've collected a few pretty pieces of this. They're back at my backpack, which is about a quarter mile away now. But I'll take some home, cut and tumble them, see how they turn out. But it's just amazing. You can see this fault plane through this hill, just as plain as can be. And obviously it's a little bit harder than the bentonite clay that the hill's made of, because it's sticking up very prominently while the hill's wasting away. So, kind of cool. I thought I can do paleontology, geology, and lapidary out here. So, it's always a good outing to the Badlands. I can come home with bones and rocks. Okay, let me continue exploring this area. My wife went around to a different area of lower hills, and I'm going to join her in a little bit as soon as I knock out a couple more spots around here. Hopefully I can find another tortoise that's just starting to erode out like the one we just looked at a bit ago that was too far gone. Okay, I think I'm done with this area. There's just too much climbing for not enough reward. Gonna go out here. My wife's out there, way out there, but I think around to the left there's some lower hills on the other side of this big hill. We can go explore those. One thing I did find just now, I found myself up a wash back here beneath that hill where I found that fragmented Titanothera rhino tooth, and immediately below where I was digging, because I could see above my head up there where the digging spot was, I found another piece of tooth. I'm pretty sure it's from the same tooth. So it's going in the same pocket with all those pieces. So that's pretty cool. But really, wow. Done a lot of climbing. Leslie's done with this area too. We're going to go find something a little easier and hopefully more fossiliferous. I always like to check out these areas where the wash has started undermining the hill and sort of cut it in cross section, because some years back, and this was a long time ago, I've been coming out here for what, maybe 8 years now, probably on my first or second time out here, a member of our party found some rib bones sticking out of the hill after it had been cross-sectioned by a stream like this. So I'm always looking, but so far doesn't look like there's anything coming out of here but the occasional rock. But I'm gonna keep looking. There's lots of other places where this happens. Well, over on the neighboring hill over there, another one of those Stylemys tortoises. We call that an exploded tortoise, because once Mother Nature has its way with it, they just look like somebody's put a cherry bomb in them and blown them apart. So again, too far gone to consider digging. Got to keep looking for something more freshly exposed. Okay, so I crested a hill, and it's like, oh look, a whole new section of Badlands to search. But everywhere I go over here, I see footprints, signs of digging. I'm like, what the heck? Who could have done this? Because Mike and Cena are still over there on Concrete Hill digging on their horse. I haven't seen Steve in hours. My wife went over that way. So I'm like, what the heck? Then I realized I've walked so far north and west around those hills there that I'm back in territory we searched 2 days ago. Okay, I'm looking at my own footprints. That's the problem. Alright, so this area has already been searched. So let me work my way down over here into some virgin territory. I don't think anybody's been over there yet, unless my wife's back in there somewhere. I'm sure we'll meet up again. Our packs are on the same hill in a prominent location, so we can find them. But so I'm going to work my way down into unsearched territory and see if I can find anything. Well, after walking for many, many hours, I've actually reached a limit of this ranch. You see that fence over there? That's the boundary of this ranch in that direction. It's a huge ranch. A lot of property here. Not all of it has fossil-bearing outcroppings on it, but it's a huge, huge ranch. So, can't go much further, but this is about as far as I wanted to go anyway. It's not looking too promising beyond here. So there's some stuff behind me I want to look at and start working my way back to where Leslie and I left our packs. That's going to be a bit of a hike. So after a day of wailing away on this horse, they have moved a lot of rock, but they don't think they can get the block with the horse in it out without power tools, which is understandable. I'm surprised they got as much out as they did. So, wow. But you guys may be the only ones who found anything worth a damn. I put a lot of miles on these feet today and haven't found squat. Well, Steve is back at his rhino hole, where he found the rhino tooth around his neck there, his good luck charm. So he's back over here. He's excavating ribs today and maybe something else. A nice big rib there. You zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Got some pieces of it down here. And you got other bone up there?
Yeah, there's another bone eroding out right here, and then I got this piece. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But there's another bit of bone here.
Alright.
But I found 2 ribs here before in my tooth, so.
Yeah.
Back and about 3 inches of this was eroding out, and now there's like 12, 13 inches of rib here.
Yeah. Ooh, big rib. Yep. He says unfortunately it's about as hard as Concrete Hill though.
Yep. Not unlike there.
But he's doing it. He's excavating it. Steve's got a baguette of rib there tied up in that aluminum foil. He got more out than I thought he would. More than you thought you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
I was honestly ready to go back day after tomorrow.
Yeah. Cool. And that's the end of day 4. Heading back to Fort Robinson. Hungry, tired, sore. And I'll give you a look at everything I found today once we get back. So yeah, today day 4 was back in the Titanothere beds pretty much. So got a lot of Titanothere tooth shards here. Some bone fragments. Really, I will probably donate all this stuff to the club to auction off. Got a coprolite here too. I actually, over the last 4 days, have collected a literal ton of coprolites. But again, I'm donating them all to the educational program. Kids just absolutely go nuts over fossilized poop. You just see their eyes light up when you tell them they're holding, 20-million-year-old poop in their hands. So anyway, gets them interested in fossil hunting. So yeah, there's really nothing much of value here. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything significant today, but I did find a lot of little bits that might make somebody's day in one of the Fossil Club auctions. People who can't make it out to fossil hunt themselves. All right, well, thanks for watching. Got a couple more days of fossil hunting to go, so subscribe to see those future videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.